When you get into celebrity styling, you realize that it's a very unorganized sector, but at the same time, you need to make it as organized as you can. Vicky actually is quite a chameleon, huh? He can really transform from looking a certain way to completely different way. I've actually worked with a lot of women in my magazine days, right from Priyanka Chopra to Alia Bhatt to Tapsi, someone I really absolutely loved working with. In Indian wedding sense, whites are always looked at as not the right color. But a lot of brides are breaking that norm. Fashion is so personal that you can't really put a blanket statement and say that, okay, this is right and this is wrong and this is good and this is bad. At the end of the day, you as a stylist and your client, those are the two people who make the choice and who should be happy with the decision. And ultimately, if they are happy, then you're happy.
Hi, and we hope you're keeping it stylish in 2023. And joining us today is a lady who Vicky Kaushal has often credited for his style makeover. That's Amandeep Kaur.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with how your journey started actually. How did you get into celebrity styling?
I knew that I wanted to get into fashion and I wanted to get into something creative. And I went to a fashion college, NIFT. And I actually always thought I will be in media, I would write or do photography or something. And that's when I stumbled upon styling and I realized that's actually my calling, that's my love. And I never knew that even a profession, like even before coming to NIFT. Worked at a lot of media houses like newspapers, magazines. My last stint before I joined, independent freelance styling completely was with Cosmopolitan magazine, where I was a fashion editor. And there I styled a lot of celebrities, primarily women, which is very opposed the idea of me styling men. And there I realized that this whole high that you get when you get like very limited hours with a celebrity, but you need to make them look absolutely fabulous, and all that work that goes behind prepping to the day and then executing it all on that day, and making sure that I was actually handling the production bit of it also. So it just gave me a very 360-degree view of how that worked. And I was based in Delhi, and I realized that I think I'm ready to fly on my own and try this on my own. And I came to Bombay, and yeah, it started.
And celebrity styling is a different ball game. You
It
have
is
to always
completely,
be,
yeah.
on top of the business.
Completely.
And,
It was so different when I was with editorial styling because, no matter whatever said and done, you get a certain salary every month, right?
Yeah.
And you know how your rents are going to work out, how your expenses are going to work out. When you get into celebrity styling, you realize that it's a very unorganized sector, but at the same time, no, you need to make it as organized as you can by really like planning it well, hiring the right team, getting in touch with the right actors who resonate with your style, studying their sensibility, their characteristics, etc. I mean, I am saying all of this, I didn't really go in a lot of detail because when you're getting in, you're just like so excited to get in. And I had heard of Vicky doing amazing in Masan, and I had watched the film, and I was styling Angira Dhar for Love Per Square Foot. And that's where I met Vicky, and I was like, okay, so this seems fun.
So Vicky's had a major style transformation from the regular guy to a fashion maverick. So how did you do that?
Vicky actually is quite a chameleon, huh? He can really transform from looking a certain way to completely different way. And that's what's seen in his films as well. Like when I saw, after working with Vicky, when I saw Sanju for the first time, for some time I couldn't recognize that it was Vicky playing, Kamli. And that was something that I understood, that, I can really work with this person. I can really try and convince him and make him look, of course, something that still resonates with his personality, but very different from what he actually was when he was working at Masan. So slowly and steadily, with a lot of arguments, with a lot of pushbacks, I somehow convinced, and we are here where we are.
So you have worked with also a lot of other male actors, leading men, right from Abhay Deol to Sunny Kaushal and Sumit Vyas. So any looks that you could share and what went into them?
I would like to tell you about the Abhay Deol bit. I was very excited when I, heard about him wanting to work together. And, there's this personality, there's this like really boyish charisma about him that comes through his personality. And I'd been a huge fan of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara and Oye Lucky and all that like really interesting, unique kind of stories that he's been a part of. And I wanted to style him in the most authentic way, but also slightly flamboyant, because it kind of comes across in his personality. So we did fittings together, and when once we did reach the shoot, we realized that even when I was trying to think that, oh, maybe he might not be comfortable in a certain way, I should play it slightly safe, while I love to experiment and I love to go out there. He was actually surprising me with, okay, let's do pink, or let's do a very Italian style, like linen shirt and scarf around the neck, and like, tinted sunglasses. He was happy about this like really cool motorcycle chic kind of look we had put together. And I'd given him a rustic earthy shirt and like a leather jacket on top. And I was like, you know what, let's open the buttons a bit and, make it look really flamboyant, very like rock star chic. And he was totally game for it. And the pictures turned out so amazing because he was so confident from within. It's totally flirting with the camera and totally like opening the buttons even further. And I was like, okay then. And it was a moment where you've seen this person when you were a child, you're a teenager,
Yeah.
you've seen this person as this aspirational actor, and now you're working with that person. So it was an interesting styling journey with him.
And there have been some interesting glamorous women as well you have worked with, right from
Yes.
Taapsee Pannu to Yami Gautam. So how was that experience?
I've actually worked with a lot of women in my magazine days,
Mhm.
right from Priyanka Chopra to Alia Bhatt to Sonam Kapoor. And every time you would reach on set, there would be a different temperament, different body type, different persona, and like, to mold yourself. Off late, as an independent stylist, Taapsee is someone I really absolutely loved working with. She's very fierce, very feminist, and she kind of gives this voice to these outside actors that you can do it, and you can create a niche for yourself. Then Yami was so much fun. It was we did Guinea with Sunny
Yeah.
together, and she was playing this Delhi girl, so I resonated a lot with that role. And we had a huge laugh riot. Every night you would just like play games and prank each other. It was a lot of fun. Radhika Madan's actually someone who I've also been very fond of, and she's kind of always remembered me when she goes for her international screenings and like festivals, because I think those are big moments. And she's also got this very like badass
Yeah.
attitude in her, so she wants to do like different things, not things that are just gowns and stuff that all most women want to do. So we do like some cool experimental things with her.
And I know it's difficult to choose, but would you choose costume styling or styling people in real life? What do you find more exciting?
Costume styling is a very different profession. A lot of people probably might not understand this, but costume primarily has to deal with catering to the character that you are dressing. So that character could be a small town person based in Aurangabad to someone who's based in 1942, related to the majesty or something. So it's very different costume. For me, I would be very excited if it was current times, and I had to style someone in the most fashionable way possible. But I think I'll choose styling actors and models, for events and in real life and red carpet. Like it kind of gives you like a mixed palette, because you can do red carpet glam, you can do realistic in ad shoots and stuff, you can do their style but slightly elevated at events. So, it gives you a little different perspective of all things.
That's interesting. And of course, it's wedding season. So we definitely have to ask you about the trends this wedding season that you feel will really blow up.
I think white, it looks like something that should blow up. I feel like, of course, in Indian wedding sense, whites are always looked at as not the right color, the mourning color. But, a lot of brides are breaking that norm. And because there's so much exposure to the Western trends, there's so much, we are kind of becoming a melting pot, and, we're getting to know trends that are happening in the West and everywhere around the world. White kind of stands out a lot, and if it's embroidered and this beautiful lehenga, with like beautiful gold jewelry, very Alia,
Yeah,
Bhatt inspired. I think white can be something stunning, and it actually, if you turn it to ivory or like something slightly more off-white, also it works very well with men. I mean, if you remember, I styled Vicky in this beautiful ivory Sabyasachi sherwani. So I feel like that's a color that kind of looks very elegant and very rich at all times.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. So you styled not just him, but the whole family.
Yes.
So what was that experience like? Like most people didn't even know it's happening, and obviously you were planning the look so long.
Yeah.
So how did you all plan that?
It was really interesting because I had known, but he said that he literally told us recent, just before the wedding, and we had to plan the whole family's looks, and his family is literally like my family extension, So it didn't feel like, oh, there are these clients I had to dress up and style. It literally felt like my mom, my dad, my brother, how will I like them to dress up for a wedding in my house. So it was a lot of fun. Like auntie and I went shopping to like all these lanes that you can think of in Bandra and Andheri. We went, bought fabrics together, we went to the tailor together. Then there were sessions with uncle where we had the designer come into the house, the tailors come into the house, and do measurements and stuff. And then that would turn into something else, a discussion over decor or food. So it was just like a really amazing, experience, which almost felt like a wedding in my house. My house was actually full of clothes and stuff. And I was going to Vicky's house and saying that, your house doesn't look like a wedding house as much as my house does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was fun. I mean, and then towards the end, when we had to pack everything, that was the biggest challenge because packing for the entire family and it's wedding trousseaus. It's not like your Goa beach wedding, So it wasn't like small items. There were like these large suitcases that were bought, and then everything was organized person wise, occasion wise. It was a lot of work, but it was good fun. It was really good fun. And once we were at the wedding, I just realized that he said, now you're just here to have fun. Please forget about everything. Just focus on having fun, have great food, dance, drink, everything, just have fun.
Yeah, but when you do work on a celebrity wedding, everyone's waiting for the first look.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's quite a lot of pressure. Everything needs to be perfect.
Yes.
The first pictures. Yes. So how do you all plan that? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so when we were shooting, their looks, and just before the events would start, we knew that we had to take some pictures. Every bride and groom wants their pictures to be perfect, and especially in this, matter where it's bride and groom are popular people, it becomes extremely important to make sure that these pictures don't go out anywhere. These outfits are kept absolutely under the radar. But when we actually come out with them, it's like a blur. It's just like it happens, and then the whole world, I mean, you see your Instagram exploding because, people from all over are just been waiting to, see the pictures. And of course, the making of it is very, very special because, we are so accustomed and we're so trained as stylists to see pictures as professional work, because we want to make sure every fabric, every hair strand, everything is perfect, to get that beautiful shot. But in real life, these two people are actually getting married, it's not just a photo shoot. And to keep yourself away from like going there and touching up the dupatta a little bit, the safa a little bit, or like making sure the picture is perfect. So a lot of like emotions kind of go into it, but there is a lot of pressure, no doubt. There's a lot of stress, but at the end, when the results come and if you are happy with it, it really like stays for itself.
And now, of course, you have a lot of more people scrutinizing as well, be it social media users or a Diet Sabya as well. So how do you take that?
There was this poll last year on Diet Sabya that I kind of won, where Vicky won basically. And I was happy, but I was not like ecstatic. I was happy that, okay, somebody is noticing it or somebody is saying something about it. My friends just told me this one thing. This really close friend of mine said that, if you're happy with something, be prepared to have like a little bit of criticism also in life from the same people. So be prepared for that. So don't take this, personally. And that's something that I took back. And now with a lot of scrutiny coming in, because obviously, menswear styling is very limiting because there are not that many options as much as women's wear styling. And people want to look at men in a certain way. They don't want them to experiment too much, but they don't want them to be boring also, So it's very hard to make sure that you're experimenting, but just in the right way and not. So when you are experimenting, of course, there are experiments that some people like, some people don't like. And it's so personal. Fashion is so personal that you can't really put a blanket statement and say that, okay, this is right and this is wrong and this is good and this is bad. So when the scrutiny happened, it felt bad for a brief moment, but then I was like, it's fine. These are the same people who appreciate you. These are the same people who scrutinize you. At the end of the day, you as a stylist and your client, those are the two people who make the choice and who should be happy with the decision. And ultimately, if they are happy, then you're happy.
And now that you have so much experience behind you, any advice you would give aspiring stylists?
I think stylists need to think of it as a business. It's not just a service providing, freelance project. You need to look at it as a business. You need to look at it how much money you're investing, how much time and energy you're investing, what are the kind of people you're approaching. Make like a proper SWOT analysis for yourself and understand that this requires a lot of infrastructure also, right from getting a place to stock up, I have kind of a warehouse and an office which has so many clothes, so many shoes. And initially, when I started, I had nothing. And, I had heard of these freelance stylists having like a great closet where, if they get a project, they can just like create things from their closet. And I didn't think that would come to me and that would happen with me, but it happened. And now I have so much stuff that I need to store it properly with Bombay rains, the humidity. So you need to be very like planned and methodical and almost treat it like a business. You're an entrepreneur. You're not just a stylist. You have to have a PR, this thing. You have to be active on your social media. You have to be careful about, who you are hiring, who you're working with, and, how you're dealing with other brands, etc. What kind of revenue are you generating? How are you distributing your revenue? So all of that, it's like a startup business in itself. Yeah.
But now that you look back at your initial days, so were there any challenges that you that really took you by surprise, actually, that you weren't really prepared for?
COVID was, of course, one big challenge. When I started, my sister lived in Bombay and she had a 2 BHK, and her zero point 0.5 BHK is what I was staying in, so it was a small room. And that's when actually I started with Vicky and Angira and Tapsi. And in that tiny room, I had, boxes full of stuff and things that I used to source. And I used to sleep also there only. So 6 months, I spent like that until I realized, okay, this is working out and I need a house and now I need to move. From that challenge, then of course, there were like small challenges that happen every day. But the biggest one happened just 2 years after I had been in Bombay. And I finally, when I thought, okay, now I'm getting a grip on like, things and I feel like I'm growing and I need to invest more in a space and like get maybe a tailor permanently or like a workshop permanently. That's when COVID happened.
Yeah.
And, all your savings kind of went into just survival mode. And it was really hard because you almost felt like it would never get back to the same position where you left at. But by God's grace and thankfully with everyone, I think like, it started from there and it has become bigger and better for everyone.
Speaking of Instagram, I also saw this very sweet post where, you spoke about having a supportive partner, which is so important, and a supportive family
It's
as
an
well.
absolutely important.
So people
part.
don't really give enough credit, I
Enough
guess.
credit,
So,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I actually feel that I have a lot of friends and a lot of family who are struggling in their relationships, and I see that how much time and how much mind of energy of theirs go in that problem. So I'm so thankful and grateful to my partner who I've been with for the last 17 years. And, because he's so sorted and he's not insecure and he's not someone who constantly is trying to get my attention or anything. He's just someone who's there, who's supportive. And that's what has led me to focus on my work and to focus on growing in life and to focus on what I give out to the world, So that's absolutely important, I think.
On that lovely note, let's look at your top 5 looks for Vicky.
Okay, so one of the latest looks that we did with Govinda Naam Mera Promotions was this purple suit. And
Yeah.
as you can see, he's creating this dance emoji style. So, I was debating with him and I'd gotten this suit made and he was like, no, it's too out there. But I was like, but this is Govinda, it's all about color and fun. And he was like, are you sure? Isn't it too much? And I was like, no, it's fun. It's not too much. Just go for it. And he wore it and he looked so good. And, when he was posing for it, I was like, you know what, let's just do this like dance emoji pose because you look exactly like it. And he literally gave all of these postures and we were all laughing so much about it. And even while posting it, I was like giggling because, it just reminded me of how funny this is and how exact, accurate this is. The next look I think I could say is this. Another Govinda Naam Mera look where, we gave him, this was one of the first few looks, and I wanted to warm up my audience to Vicky experimenting with color and prints. And he was basically wearing this white suit with a printed shirt. And I was like, white in itself is not a very out there color, but because it's with a printed shirt and these like tinted glasses, it kind of has that vibe, and also in a very like Italian mafia, slightly elegant but slightly flamboyant way.
True.
Then I think Filmfare Awards. Filmfare Awards, we basically, got this suit customized. There's this one little fact about Vicky. He's tall, and you have to get suits customized for him. So, I really like sit down with designers and design it, and not just have ready pieces available to style him in. So we were thinking of like, what to do with the Filmfare suit. Like, it needs to be a classic tux, but I was like, it's Filmfare, it's glam. It needs to have a little element of classic. And his referencing is always like, oh, Brad Pitt and George Clooney, these are such classic men, they always wear like a simple black tuxedo. And I was like, okay, simple black tuxedo is fine. I get it. I understand it. But you need to have a little glam element. So, we just added this like embellished detail around the collar and the bow tie, and I think it worked really well. Then Coffee with Karan. Coffee with Karan was quite a iconic look in for me actually, like in my life, because I wanted him to wear something formal, something not so formal, something which makes him look good and structured. And he was losing some weight for his film Sam. So we wanted to do like a double-breasted suit. But I was like, there needs to be some fun. So we made these pants slightly like wider, which is something that Vicky hasn't worn before. And kind of like different color. And it turned out really good. Like, when he was sitting on that couch with Sid and with Karan, he looked really elegant and he looked very sharp also. So I was very happy with the look. And the most surprising thing happened in the show, which I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
is that he credited me, and that was so sweet. That was such a sweet, blessed moment. And I remember like I heard my name, and I after the show ended, I went up to him and I just hugged him and I was like, thank you. He was like, for what? I was like, for taking my name, you didn't have to. He was like, no, I was just dropping some truth bombs, so I dropped it.
Yeah, that was a lovely moment for sure.
That was really sweet. And Coffee with Karan is so popular all
Exactly,
over that
yeah.
literally my friends from across the globe who had known me in school or like childhood, whenever also, they texted me saying that, oh, we heard your name on Coffee with Karan, and that was very, very sweet. It was very sweet. And I think the last has to be one of my favorite moments from the wedding, where I think my styling really stepped up and it shone.
Definitely, yes.
No, but the entire wedding, especially this, the mehndi look where he wore this kurta and like embroidered bandi and salwar and jutti, so it kind of had very Punjabi vibe, but at the same time, it was very like vibrant and out there, but still traditional, and it was a good look. I think he pulled it off really well. And the freedom that he had in that sleeveless bandi, because his hands could move around, and whenever there's a dhol, he loses it. He cannot stop dancing.
Yeah.
And there were so many dhols in the mehndi event, and they were all dancing, and it was very, very nice to witness him in that moment.
Thank you so much for doing this, and looking forward to all your exciting projects in the
Thank
future.
Thank you for having me. It was an amazing conversation. Thank you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.